Fallout 76, the 2024 review by Mr. Matty. To prepare for this, I myself re-downloaded Fallout 76 and played it for 1 hour and 13 minutes until I could no longer bear the taste of shit in my mouth.
So like many of you, I saw the Fallout TV show, I loved it, and I wanted to play a Fallout game. Now, I've played a lot of Fallout 3, New Vegas, 4, even the originals, but 76 for many of us is a blind spot. Now, for me, I've dipped into every single major update for the game since it came out, especially because this Fallout itch I'm getting from the TV show happens to me like every month, except this time it's really bad because I actually had something from Fallout to attach myself to, so it's doubly bad. Anyway, I'm always looking for a new Fallout experience, and it seems like many of you are, because I received so many tweets and so many requests to check out 76 again in more of an all-encompassing re-review of the game and the state it's in 2024, and since I keep up with things, I thought this was a great idea. Also, seeing the massive surge of brand new players into Fallout 76 has people raising their eyebrows. Is it really better than it's ever been before? And
no, I would actually, in fact, argue that it's worse. What I remember playing a year ago from this game was better than what I experienced just now. Again, my 1.5 hour experience was unreasonably bad. I started near freshly open Scorch Beast tunnel, and well, I was level 17 because I deleted my old character and started the new, and well, the Scorch Beast was level 30, and even a stealth sneak attack from a fully pimped out marksman rifle that is the best weapon pretty much I can have at this point only did this much of its health bar with a crit, and it has this much of a health bar. I ran out of all of my stim packs, which were 6 because I left all the rest 60 that I had in my storage. And it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. The Scorch Beast is still just randomly flying over, not doing anything. The shooting of the guns is beyond sad and bad at this point. Like, fully automatic weapons are still an absolute nightmare. Not automatic weapons are still a nightmare. The crosshair is way too big. The models of the weapons are way too big. Anyone who is saying that Fallout 4 and 76 are better shooting experiences, if you want that for Fallout than 3 and New Vegas, are crazy, because it's barely visible. It is still one of the worst experiences with a gun in absolutely any game, without exception. There's a reason every single player that plays 76 for an extended period of time always uses VOTS when they need to shoot someone or do that in melee range. It is a horrible experience, without question.
truth is, while I've done my intermittent updates and you'd think I have a really sour opinion on the game, I would understand that. But when you look at it collectively, I'll just say at the top that 76 is not the game it was in 2018. I was there.
Yeah, it's worse in so many ways. Admittedly, they did remove the clutter on your right side of the screen, which is kind of nice. But the quests make no sense. One of the quests that I got is, go in here, mine coal. Okay. I go in there, mine coal, get 1 piece of coal. Is there a quest log update? No. Mine 2 pieces of coal. Still nothing. Mine every piece of coal in the dungeon. Still nothing. No markers, no nothing, no explanation. I just have a mission. Mine coal. Why? I don't know. Why is it automatically marked as a quest? I don't know. It's just so bad.
There, like many of you tearing this thing down, saying how bad it was, I stuck with it even through covering things like potentially adding Team Deathmatch to Fallout 76. They really found their way beginning with Wastelanders, and the game has been steadily climbing upward since then.
No, this is arguably the only almost decent human interaction you have in the game, and this is the first one. Every other interaction is like, oh, please just skip the dialogue. None of this makes sense. It's written by a 5-year-old. Okay, you know what they did? Instead of actual, they did the Fallout 4, but only 100 times worse here, by the way. You typically have your typical 4 interactions of Fallout, but instead in a wheel, it's in a Fallout New Vegas style or Fallout 3 style of dialogue, like right here. And it's like, lie and be bad, say no, ask for a reward, help. Yeah, that's all. That's all the options you have. There is no nuance to any of this dialogue. These NPCs might as well not exist. It's the same in Starfield, where one of the things that you should be doing is space exploration, but you don't want to do that because it's that bad. And Fallout 76, now you have NPCs, but you don't want to talk to them because it's just that bad and sad.
And with occasional dips here or there. It's in a great state now, and if you haven't played Fallout 76 since its launch or just looked at it at launch and laughed at it, maybe this video will convince you to give it a shot. We'll talk about that. The other reason I thought it was great to talk about it now is we're seeing a touch of revisionist history ongoing now. I'm seeing outlets like Insider Gaming posting articles and then deleting them. G-Man lives. I'm not hating on him. I love his videos. He is being consistent here while some people thought he wasn't. His 76 review did say that people were being hyperbolic, and he's just saying right now, look at this, it's always been good. I would humbly disagree with that and say it's always been bad and it's getting better. But
nah, it's always been bad and it's not getting better.
Also, we're away from other things like the canvas bag debacle. We're away from
16 times the detail.
$80 plastic.
Oh, yeah, actually, by the way, the age of 76 is showing. It is an absolute atrocious sight for eyes. It's just a really bad looking game. If you think Starfield is 20 years in the past, bruh, 76 is 200 million years in the past.
Nuka-Cola rum bottles, a battle royale mode being added and weirdly being like the best thing they put in the game up until that point in time, and so on to give room for forgiveness. So what I did was I started a brand new build. This is the third new character I've done in Fallout 76. I have like a main file that was on PS4 where I played almost 200 hours. I did a new build on PC, starting from scratch at level 1, and this is my first...
Build-wise, this is pretty stupid, because... honestly, nothing but guns and aiming with VATS honestly works. Well, you don't need to aim with VATS when you're shooting something that's the size of a building, that's true. But, yeah, anything for smaller than that, you're gonna use it. Even though the game's really generous and you know what it does constantly, it makes ranged opponents slowly encroach you until they're melee range at you because the gunplay is just so bad. And also, look at this. You see this? This is the actual aim thing. But this happens whenever you hit a target, so you know that you hit a target. And the moment you're shooting at something in range, you're like, oh, I'm missing every shot. It's great.
First time doing a preset...
And yes, the settler did not react to being shot. This is normal. If you play stealth, which you shouldn't, by the way, do, but I kind of do it anyway... By the way, stealth and melee pretty much don't exist in this game any longer. 76 just decided, fuck it. So yeah. When you play in stealth, or well, in general, even not in stealth, man, there are so many situations where you just see the NPC stand in the middle of a field and just shoot at you like time to time without even moving. It's just crazy bad.
Custom build recommended by Bethesda. So this is a review from the new player angle, as well as covering all of the new additions to the game throughout the year. So let's get started. Right upon leaving Vault 76, you're actually going to be asked what loadout you want to go with. And Bethesda recommends that you start off at level 20 and gives you a...
I'm level 17, bruh. When you make a game this bad, that you need to start off at level 20. Imagine this.
Complete preset loadout from your perk cards to the weapons you carry, everything. And it does...
because the perk cards are really, really sad and bad, so no one really likes them. Perk cards are so fucking boring. And animations are unskippable, and the menu navigation in this game is still like the biggest atrocity committed since ever.
Make the starting player experience infinitely better. The perk card system has always ruled in my opinion. Even in my original 76 review, I still praised it, and to this day, I do. I think you could even argue that Fallout 76 has the most build crafting of any modern Fallout game when you account for...
build crafting. By build crafting, he means just add passive stats via perk cards. That's pretty much it. That's it.
perk cards, legendary perks, legendary weapons, and mutations. Not only that, but one thing that's been consistent in 76 is its map. It's always been a joy to go around and explore, and while it may not have 16 times the detail, literally, I think it's a vibrant world with a lot of things that are going to pique your interest and some pretty interesting quests now that actual NPCs are on the map. Now, the reason Bethesda Game Studios decided to make everyone level 20 to start things off and give you weapons, ammunition, stim packs,
because the start of the game otherwise is tediously stupid and boring.
ways, all that stuff to start off, is arguably the biggest problem in Fallout 76 next to its performance, which many people focused on at launch, was actually the game's balance.
Well, no, actually the biggest problem in 76 by far is the absolutely shit-tier gameplay. It is boring, it is bad, the shooting is bad, the everything is bad. You can... a lot of enemies just blend into the environment and they're invisible unless you're spamming VATS in a lot of cases. Also, flying bugs are still flying bugs and you can't hit them without VATS on average. It's a pain on every level.
That's why
the fact that also every single unboiled piece of water you drink instantaneously gives you diarrhea is hilarious.
now when you hop in the game, you still have the hunger, thirst meters, you still want to rest, but these aren't necessary anymore. You used to get massive debuffs when your character was hungry or thirsty, and so oftentimes sessions in 76 would turn into you doing dailies or weekly challenges to get stuff to survive and barely exploring the map, but instead spending so much time mining materials, mining resources to be able to just survive and not be in the negative constantly. You would also be scavenging for things like ammunition, you'd be scavenging for healing supplies. You would always be short on something, and it...
Yeah, you know, the cool Fallout thing that you did in every other game, you scavenged for things. Now you don't. Now you don't.
Made playing the game a little tedious, in my opinion. Something that Bethesda eventually righted the wrong on in more ways than one. But this was one of the major ways of getting the new player experience to a level where it should.
He's effectively saying instead of actually fixing it and making it fun, they just removed it entirely. That's the Blizzard's approach. Oh, you don't like this mechanic? Well, let's remove it.
Which is just overloading you with resources off the bat to kind of let you go off in any direction you want. It does destabilize a bit of the BGS feel of starting off with just a 10mm pistol or starting off with a pipe pistol and building up from there. Instead, I'm starting off with a tactical automatic combat rifle. That can be a little sour if you want to be nitpicky, but I think it ultimately leads to a much better experience starting off 76. Now, exploring this world, while the map is fantastic, a lot of these locations are tied down by quests. That means that you're going to run into some areas with a lot of nameless NPCs, unfortunately, which I do think strips away a lot from the world. There are named NPCs, but you got to remember, this game started off with none. So most of the newly added ones are tied to quests because they've been in big content additions. This may change down the line because one of the future updates for Fallout 76 coming out soon is expanding the base game map. It'll actually...
This actually does look cool, but it's going to be such a disappointment. It's probably not going to even be funny.
Be the first part of the entire base game experience that's going to be built in mind with Wastelanders already being there. So I'm keen to see what happens there. But right now, what you're going to do is run into a lot of these areas, and they'll either be shooting galleries or weirdly hollow until you realize that they're tied to a quest and you're going to go back there much later. That also can lead to inconsistency, making you not want to explore. Like, I wiped out this free radical base, which is tied to the Wastelanders quest line, and then I got to that point in the Wastelanders quest line, so I went there again, and everyone was all cool.
Arguably the only interesting and, you know, semi-decent location in all of the game, by the way. This is it. This is your peak.
With it. Yeah, it's an online game. There's not going to be that level of choice and consequence in your world that's going to just dramatically change how your interaction with an entire faction goes. But for those of you looking for immersion qualities, there are things like that that are just not simply going to...
By the way, if you're wondering, why does he have a gas canister tied to his stomach? I don't know. I guess it's armor or something.
...to pass because it's an online game. Still, the difference is now 76 used to be about chasing ghosts. Someone died. What happened here? Those quests are more interesting now because they're not the core of the game. They are more additive. The main story about 76 is leaving the vault on Reclamation Day and going out into the wasteland and trying to establish what this world will be like moving forward, as we've seen in things like the Fallout TV show even. That means base building is a big part of it. We'll talk about that in just a second. But for the story itself, a lot of locations that used to be empty and just involving chasing down holotapes and listening to recordings and getting to your next quest step instead are now tied to...
Yeah, it's arguably that, chasing down holotapes was better than this. It's arguable that that's the case.
Your next quest step instead are now tied to NPCs. There are going to be NPCs populating locations that there used to be none. Like the responders, when you actually go and find the
NPCs populating locations also is stupid, because you have these situations where it's like, rescue an NPC, and guess what? It's surrounded by Scorched. And the NPC is alive while being surrounded by Scorched, and it's completely fine. It's just the dumbest thing ever.
Responders, they are actually there, which is great to see. You can actually meet the Overseer from Vault 76 now. She's not just this voice on the radio. So no longer is the part of the game that should have been additive the core. It is truly additive, and it's about the NPCs now. So it's much better in the questing department. And the main story, I always liked in 76 in the sense that the way they play with the Enclave here, as my personal favorite faction in Fallout, I really like. So I think that the main story in 76 may be more interesting to you than you give it credit for. I mentioned earlier, base building is a big part of this game, and yes, it is. You build bases with the camp. It's big, it's necessary, and you're not really going to avoid it. You can also build your own vault in this game if you really get into it. That's a super interesting part of the game.
That's new.
But yeah, this is going to be a lot like what you saw in Fallout 4 if you haven't played Fallout 76 ever or in a...
Yeah, because base building was everyone's favorite pastime activity, so 76 needs more of it. Yeah, I never understood what's the point of base building. You can make a camp, which is your kind of actual real base, but you can also claim locations and like do stuff, and I'm not sure how that's even supposed to work. You claim them, then they are eventually under attack, and you need to fast travel to them, and they create resources for you. That's pretty much the gist of it. And if you think that's dumb, well, that's because it is.
While you're going to be gathering items, breaking them down into materials, storing them in your stash. Stash limit, no longer a problem in this game anymore. It's not like how it was at launch where 76 had like 40 pounds worth of space and you were always getting rid of stuff. That is a thing of the past now. Just like in Fallout 4, you'll gather materials, throw them into your stash. You'll probably make use of them before anything fills up anyway. So you don't have to worry about storage limits at all. But you're going to be breaking down weapons as well, because you're going to get your best weapon.
Damn, these benches are still an absolute pain. Let me, you know what? What's the thing here? Okay, look. So this is the same for every bench. You have the ability to craft and to scrap items and to modify repair. When you press the A button or the X button, it's fine. When you press the modify repair, you get to see a 3-second animation of you entering the bench, and it's just stupid. That's what it is. It's so painful and annoying.
On weapons as well, because you're going to get your best weapon upgrades by doing that. So things like scope, different sights, different magazines. It's all kind of randomized, and this game does have decent unique loot, as do most BGS games. Starfield, I'm looking at you. But it does lean heavily on legendary.
This menu is pain, as you can probably imagine. It's really pain.
Items, and these are all role dependent. Now you can re-roll legendary items with the purveyor, but this is something in the game that you should just be aware of, that a lot of the best loot is legendary.
So one of the things is, you see how he's unlocking crafting items with recipes, essentially, like longer scopes and whatnot. Yeah, you need to find the specific type of weapon that you can unlock, new upgrades for, and, builds and whatnot, and dismantle them. And, well, good luck, because a lot of those weapons actually weigh like 10 kilograms. Well, 10 whatever this is supposed to be. And it's not great. It's not great, because you're probably not going to level strength, so that's going to be real fast. You're going to go in one shitty dungeon and you're going to be pretty full already. Now, the good part is there are some crafting stations in most dungeons where you can scrap shit, but that's still tedious and dumb.
3-star items. It's not like how in your traditional BGS game was where, oh, I found this really unique item with a unique skin on it. I love this thing. I have an attachment to it. Those are unfortunately not the greatest items to use. That's just how the game is built. Now, you'll spend a lot of time in this camp because you're going to want to get resources to...
Also, you see this? This is what happens when you haven't looted a corpse. It's gonna glow in this shitty white color until you loot it, and it's gonna be pretty off-putting. But this is necessary because, again, everything blends into the environment. Without this, you would not even know where a corpse of an enemy you just killed is.
You'll spend a lot of time in this camp because you're going to want to get resources to start crafting your own ammo. You can start crafting your own armor, upgrading that armor. You can upgrade everything in the game, as I'm sure you already put together. But also, the community is great, and sometimes they'll hook you up. There will be donation boxes around the map that you can find just resources in, but sometimes players will outright stop you and give you tons of ammo, tons of healing items, and just...
Yeah, which none of it is necessary, by the way. Because if you're actually splunking, you're gonna find all of it, okay? All of it. But when I was level 17 because I didn't even know about the level 20 thing. I just continued my character from a year ago. And, well, I had only 6 stim packs. But the reality is I had 60 more in my stash. I just didn't take them because there was never a reason until I encountered the Scorch Beast where it was stupid.
Make your new player experience pretty great. And I have to say that this for some people is a bad thing. Not the community being great, but just giving you a ton of items right off the bat. It makes Fallout 76 an already easy game even easier, but the community is really sweet, and there are ways Bethesda sort of massages that where it benefits you and you don't have to interact with people. Like, you can go into a casual team, join that, and you'll get intelligence bonuses, which leads to more XP.
I don't even know how to open something like this. I don't know what this is.
Gains, you'll get different multipliers just by playing online in a group, and that'll lead to people collaborating more. Sometimes I just join a casuals team and then that's it. Like, I don't interact with anybody, but the community here is great. That is not some type of myth Todd Howard and his team are spreading.
No, it's true. The community is very helpful because there's always people who are willingly gonna eat shit, okay? There is nothing anyone can show me about Fallout 76 or tell me that is ever gonna change my opinion that this game is absolute trash. I have played it enough. I have seen enough of it. I have experienced enough of it to know that anyone who really likes this game is just eating shit. Okay? They're just willingly opening their mouth and not telling Bethesda do it. That's what this is. Fallout 76 is nothing but complete garbage. It's not worth your time. Now, admittedly, the real reason I downloaded 76 was not because of this. This was just a coincidence. I'm currently just extremely bored. I'm playing Season of Discovery. I don't want to level up a second character. My mage could be leveled up to level 50 literally in 2 hours because I do the Zul'Farrak thing. And I have done it a lot. My priest can do the Zul'Farrak thing because my priest is geared as hell. Still level 40. Not even doing the Gnoomers. So, you know, I'm just super bored. And Fallout is one of those things that you always feel like, yeah, let's download and play it for a couple of days. But Fallout 76 is just not worth it. And sadly, Fallout 76 this time was just the thing that, you know what? I haven't played this in forever. The last time it was stupid. Maybe I changed my opinion. No, it's still bad.
It truly is a fantastic community. What makes it even better is one Tamriel is what I like to call it, because that was the update in Elder Scrolls Online that made it where if you're level 100 and I'm level 25, you'll fight enemies that are level 100. I'll fight enemies that are level 25.
Yeah, you see that? By the way, look at this. Again, you see that?
That made it where if you're level 100...
He instantaneously bats. The reality is you're never killing this thing without wanting to completely burn down your house. Because it's just so bad shooting. It is so bad shooting. And the gun.
100 and I'm level 25.
Look at the gun size. It takes roughly a quarter of your screen. That's insane.
Fight enemies that are level 100. I'll fight enemies that are level 25. And we can play the game together. And so they do that here. I just call it one Wasteland usually too. But the idea...
Man, it just feels so bad to shoot. This is why even range mobs are going to try and be in your face. And by the way, I love it when Scorched actually appear. Because... This game, by the way, still has the problem of just spawning enemies right in front of you. If an event is happening, if a quest is happening, if anything's honestly happening, you're gonna have situations where you just see enemies spawn right in front of you because, well, that's the quality of this game. And it's jarring and it's bad.
Is that the levels of enemies scale to you, so it doesn't matter if your friend has a ton of experience and you have none, you can play together. It doesn't matter if I'm in like a casuals team online and someone's level 200 or something like that and I'm level 10.
This is a lie. This does matter because the level 200 is gonna one-shot everything, while you're gonna still need like 50 bullets to kill something.
You can play together, and that is another great addition that they have made in the game's last couple of years. Now, I have said a lot of positive things compared to maybe some prior...
Oh, that's actually true, though. That is true in the last couple of years. Because when this game started, you know what could happen? When this game started and people tried to play it, if you were like level 20 or 30 or 40, and you came too close to a guy who was level 100, he would change all of the monster levels to, I don't remember what it was, like half his or a third of his or his, and then you would just not be able to kill anything because everything would literally be a 200 bullet sponge for you. And that was really bad. I remember playing the game, that was years ago at this point, by the way, where you would constantly open the map and check the closest people near you, were they higher level than you. And if they were, you would go in the other direction, otherwise they destroy the whole game for you just by, you know, and then they don't even meet you. It's like, look, this is where you are, this is where he is. And between you are 4 objects of interest, 4 locations. And you, from this range already, he could destroy your game because that's too close. Man, it was just something special, okay?
76 videos. You may have even watched those prior 76 videos, so you've seen some of this stuff. Problems still exist. And I'm not talking design-wise, like bugs still exist. There was one video, I think I did it last year, where I sat down to play 76, and I was actually trying...
I don't know if the Scorched are bugged, by the way, when they do stupid shit like this, because something it's just so bad. Well, and obviously this is a bug, but trust me, if you play this game, there's a lot of other things that the Scorched do, and you're like, is this a bug? Is this a bug because I'm stealthed?
Trying to be really nice about the game, and yeah, like the AI broke on me 3 times in the video. So Scorched AI in particular is still brutal. I don't know what's going on. Every other part of the
all the AI is just bad. Well, actually, no, it's true. Technically, the Raider AI is better.
The game is fine. The Blood Eagles, fine. Super Mutants, fine. The Liberators, fine. Like everything attacks me as it should, operates as it should, but the Scorched are still sometimes walking backwards, freezing in place. I don't know what's wrong with the Scorched AI, but it's still remarkably terrible. And it's unfortunate because I think the Scorched are one of the cool parts of the core main story of 76 that I'll let you discover for yourself. Draw distance in this game...
Nah, not really. They're kind of dull.
Still leaves a lot to be desired. Like, I'll just see buildings loading in right in front of me. I'm usually not nitpicky on that.
This is strange because this is not too much of a problem for me. What suddenly just loads in is enemies. That is a problem.
If it's happening in the distance, but this is pretty close up and I'm on PC, so I still think it's absolutely worth calling out. And you'll just get random things like you'll see in the background of this clip here, NPCs randomly dying while I'm talking to someone. And fortunately, this is not a thing that ruined any quest lines, but yeah, random things happen in 76. It is still kind of a buggy game. It's just not as in your face as it used to be. That's for sure.
Well, that's true. When Fallout 76 launched, and this is again no joke, and I cannot state this enough because some people were not around for this, right? When Fallout 76 launched, you could literally not experience 30 seconds of gameplay without encountering a bug that and then it's not a fun bug. It's something that completely takes you out of the game. Bots aiming through walls, grenades going through walls, Scorch being T-posing, or, you know, a dog having the head of the size of the neck of the size of a giraffe's. It was crazy, okay? You could legitimately not play Fallout 76 when it launched for 30 seconds without encountering a bug that just makes you sad. It was wild. Now it's only 5 minutes and you encounter a bug that makes you think, wow, this is sad.
Sure, it's far more stable. I don't experience crashes anymore. I don't get booted out of servers ever, even with this massive spike in players. No server boots, so that's always great to see. The other thing is monetization is still extremely prevalent and definitely preys on the extremely dedicated Fallout 76 player. And I'm not going to lighten up on that, unfortunately. I'm talking about your battle pass, your atomic shop, and your subscription service trifecta. It's pretty ridiculous how monetized this game is, but
look at this. Everything has a FOMO on it. 1 day limited time, better buy. Well, it's free, but that's how they get you. 17 days, 70 days. This is just, everything is just FOMO made.
None of the content that has come out that I've talked about and I'm about to talk about has been something you've had to pay for. It is something I'm wondering how it would go for Bethesda with this resurgence, if they could do better, bigger content like Wastelanders, if they charged for it. I don't know. I don't want to invite in any more problems where we're getting charged for worse. But yeah, there's still a ton of monetization in this game. Stuff like Fallout 76 items like the Ghouls outfit is tied to the Fallout First subscription. Things like certain parts of the stash box tied to the 76 subscription service. A new player experience at level 20 will give you 2,500 atoms, so you can typically go into the atomic shop and buy a few things for yourself before new stuff is added that you may end up wanting. So you do get a couple of freebies.
Now, obviously, the thing is like, what the hell is even worth money here? This? What is this? Soundstage bundle. Really? 24 bucks effectively. Show step bundle. What is even this? The Flatland Shelter. What is even this? Auto Axe Starter Bundle. What even is this? Like, none of this is worth even money. There are some pay-to-win things that you can get that give you actual items, but none of this is even close to being useful.
There. The Battle Pass gradually scales up, although recurrent content is a little bit of a sore spot for 76. So one way or another, they're going to eventually try to get you to pay some money, but it's not something you have to do. It's just something you should be aware of. A lot of the content that you will go back in as a repeatable is the dailies, weeklies, and events. Events in the game are pretty solid. I actually enjoy some of the new ones.
Events in the game are not solid at all because the quest markers suck dick, okay? Especially the one in the nuclear power plant where you're supposed to fix pipes. The layout of almost any interior in Fallout 76 is just sad and bad. Okay? If you don't have a quest marker, you will not see it because everything is a shade of shitty brown or shitty gray. And, well, you can sometimes miss where you even have to go because it just doesn't stand out. I remember going into a cave and then I need to go to the second part of the cave and it's like, where do I even go? And I did 3 circles around the room until I found suddenly the place that I needed to crawl through to actually get to the second part of it because it's just hidden. And again, almost every interior is just bad. Especially the fix the pipes in the nuclear power plant. It's just because you know what it does? When you go into the room, into an interior, it doesn't actually show you, well, it does show you all of the pipes that you need to fix, but it also shows you the outside. And considering how poorly the interior is made, and chances are there's a lot of different places that have multiple entrances and exits, it will also show you that you need to go outside for whatever stupid reason, and then you just accidentally click on a door because you didn't think it's a loading door, and you go outside, and then you need to go. It is so bad. It is so bad.
Ones they added, like I did a new one for Nuka World on tour that I really enjoyed, and they still kept one of those in there. It was like this bank robbery thing involving a bunch of different bots, and it was a ton of fun. The rewards here are also great, albeit randomized, but they've done a good job making sure you're guaranteed certain loot drops, so you're not just rerunning and waiting for the events to start up again and again and again. It can be a little frustrating, so they have fixed loot drops in that manner. Now let's talk about some of the major content additions to the game.
I don't know about this. The last time I experienced a loot drop of actually any sizable proportions, their loot drops are pretty big. I'll give them that. Their loot drops are pretty generous. But previously, the last loot drop I remember, it was years ago, it was from an event, and well, it was just a bunch of fucking nothing. A bunch of stuff that you don't care about, like 20 dirty waters. Yay! Yay! And, you know, you can also get purified waters, and it's like, then it's 20 purified waters, and you're like, yay! Again, yay! It's so bad. Because there is just loot that completely destroys the necessity for other loot, and you can still probably, I'm assuming, get them as rewards even now. So, there is purified water, and there's dirty water, and there's boiled water. If you have boiled water, you never want to use dirty water. If you have pure water, you'd still never want to use dirty water. It's like, there's no point for any of this garbage. And you still can get it, and you're going to get 20 or 30 pops of it. And it's like, oh, great. Every water is 0.5 kilograms, so, wow.
The best one, in my opinion, was in 2020 with Wastelanders. This is when the game came to Steam and saw its first turnaround and actually managed to crawl its way at that point to mostly positive on Steam. So Wastelanders is a questline where, you guessed it, Wastelanders have arrived to the Wasteland. The reason being is there is apparently
and all of these dialogues are horrible.
Treasure locked away in a vault, and people are here to investigate that. So introducing the Settlers and the Raiders. Not the most inspiring faction groups, but yeah, you have your good guys and your bad guys, and you can get a good ending or a bad ending in this. The quest does have choices. In fact, as you'll see as I'm questing around here, there are a lot of options on how you can approach things. You can talk to certain people, find alternative solutions. You can go aggro, you can befriend people. They even added allies in this expansion, which meant that you could get basically companions in this game. My favorite one in particular is a character that was up in space during the Great War and then landed on Earth after the Great War occurred and woke up to a world completely destroyed, and they were terrified. It's a beautiful premise for a Fallout.
Bruh, every almost character here is like gives stem.
Companion. I absolutely love it, and I think they did a great job with this here. So there are actually great characters here, and they do continue to add allies, but to me personally, outside of some of the Brotherhood of Steel stuff we're talking about here, they haven't doubled down and added meaningful characters like that in quite some time. Again, to me, Wastelanders is the core. Wastelanders was not only the turning point, but
yeah, without Wastelanders, I think there's, well, nothing in this game, honestly.
the best thing they've done for the game thus far. I'm hoping that they can swing big like Wastelanders again, especially now that we have a player base of like...
No, they're never gonna swing like Wastelanders again, because the simple reason is when the Wastelanders came out, it was still a disaster. Like, look at this. The Fallout TV show did a better job of tourists playing Fallout 76 than actual fans playing Fallout 76. You need to understand that that's a disaster.
70,000 recurrent players daily. Like, that's awesome. Hopefully that stays around that area or a little bit lower, and that they can do something big with that, because to me, Wastelanders is that kind of experience that would keep me invested, would keep me excited about 76, because it's the one part of the game I have been consistently positive about since its launch. The problem was, I think, if I were to wager a guess, was at this point in 76's lifespan, Wastelanders signified a turnaround, maybe for the player base, but I don't know if monetarily it was, because after this is when Bethesda started to have really spaced out content drops. So right now it's a lot, and it's actually overwhelming. You have so much to go through, and it is pretty exciting. But then there was Steel Dawn and Steel Rain. This was a two-part quest line featuring the Brotherhood of Steel, who had also returned to the Wasteland of Appalachia.
Obviously,
and both these quest lines are kind of short. Combined, it's much better, but when you were getting these in different windows of the year, you would come back to 76 for like 3 to 6.
You see? Bots. Because you're never hitting this thing with the shitty shooting mechanics of Bethesda.
6 hours tops, and then move back on to the other games you were playing. Like, there was nothing really keeping you engaged for a long period of time. But now together, it's a lot better. Still, this is why some people continue to complain about 76 with its recurrent updates, while if you're joining in as a new player, you're wondering what the problem was at all, because now it's all together here. But this is where things were starting to feel stretched thin, and they did a similar thing with Expeditions, which we'll talk about next, and especially with Atlantic City, where they did the Expedition for Atlantic City and then America's Playground, where, as I said in my review of that update, it would have been much better, much more significant, and much more of a statement if they did that all together. But since there's a bit of a shortage of content for 76 because of the team size, I'm guessing, they had to split things up. And so you see that here with Steel Dawn and Steel Rain. Still, it's great to see the Brotherhood of Steel here. It's great to get more PvE questline content, especially at that point in the game. I wouldn't say it's as good as Wastelanders, but I still like it enough where when you have that attached to Wastelanders, attached
Paladin Rahmani, wow.
to the main story, it's
Good
definitely
old
worth experiencing.
times.
I mentioned expeditions. This is basically the Fallout 76 equivalent of a raid. So this is the one time you...
By the way, you know what I love about the Fallout lore now, effectively? Because this has been happening in all of the games. It's like, yeah, you know, the bombs fell and shit, but we decided to travel from Europe and God knows where to America. Why? Why would you do that? Why? Literally, the bombs fell and you decided to travel across the goddamn ocean? After 200 years, the bombs fell? Like, why? Why would you do that? Plus, there's no ship that's gonna survive 200 years and actually be usable.
You get to leave the Appalachia and go do something else somewhere. The first expedition was the Pit, which I absolutely tore apart. Not just because it was completely buggy and broken, bringing me back to the heyday of Fallout 76's launch, but also I thought it did not capitalize on anything it set out to do, which is bringing you to a new location. And
this gun. This is some kind of version of an AK-47, but it only has 13 ammo. I think. I'm not sure, because this is the first thing I checked when I logged in 76 was what actual gear do I have? What do I have? And I checked the guns, and this is one of the guns I have. And I'm like, I don't remember even having it, right? So I pull it out, and it's like 13 ammo out of 0. Okay, did I use up the ammo? I don't know. Go check another gun. Go back to this. 13 ammo out of 100. What? Previously it was 0, now it's out of 100? And then the ammo disappeared. Again, it just magically reappears and disappears. I don't know. Man, this game is ass.
Turned into just a horde mode with really bad resource balancing, which, again, as I mentioned now, is much better. But this is why I wasn't positive on it then, versus when you play it, you may enjoy it more. So the Pit, it's great to be back, especially at this point in the timeline. You get to see the Pit before Fallout 3's events.
Man, I don't think there's a single person who is gonna unironically tell you Fallout Bethesda games in general are good shooting games in a distance, because they're not. Unless you're using a sniper with a scope. But even then, it's like the reload anime is like... Pfft. And then it's so bad. It's so bad.
So that's really cool. But this is, again, a raid where you have to come in super prepared, where you can be of any level, but it's good to go in with a team, and it's definitely good to go in completely kitted out with a ton of resources. Like, these shooting galleries will go on for a long time, and you can end up running out while you're in there, and it's not a fun situation to be in, because you can't just dip out and go craft stuff. And then there's Atlantic City, which visually is one of the best things Fallout 76 has done. I always thought the art direction,
which is not saying a lot, honestly.
Section 476 has been great. That's why the world was so inviting, and why
Is this great? Is this unironically great? Is this really that great? Is this great? At least she understands the situation she's in.
wanted to stay there for so long. 76 really does have that wonderful art direction, and you see that especially here in Atlantic City with its very noir vibe to it. Awesome stuff. But again, the problem with expeditions is the same it's always been, is you have these areas to go to and they're shooting galleries, and when you're leaving the map, the idea is this could be more. What if we put questing content here and these were open explorable areas? And it seemed like Bethesda had the same idea, so they went ahead and did America's Playground, which was apparently making Atlantic City this new explorable area with a quest line attached to it. The problem is, it was just the same exact expedition map, which is fine to reuse, but no additional side locations, no additional ways to connect these areas. Literally, you would just go through like a sewer grate and pop out somewhere else in the map. It was really haphazard, janky, disconnected, and it led to the same problem I mentioned with the base game of 76, which is if I wandered off the beaten path, it wasn't really rewarding, which is what BGS games do so well, because this area wasn't going to be used until the quest deemed it necessary. And so you would just follow the quest line. And I didn't think it was particularly that fantastic. You're investigating this new chem called the Devil's Blood and how it's coming from Atlantic City. And so you're leaving Appalachia to check that out. I think it's the groundwork for something great. I think the idea of leaving Appalachia and going somewhere else and questing there is exactly what we all want.
Okay. Let's read the dialogue, shall we? Charisma 12 plus, because I know that Stan the man would be able to hook me up with anything. You got that power, right? Is this supposed to be charismatic? Or is this supposed to be a Family Guy skit? You tell me, surely there's some kind of favor I could do for you in return. That sounds almost better, but it's still very poor. Look, I need it for an important reason. Can't you make an exception? Genius. Guess I'll be back later. Tax evasion. Tax evasion? Nobody? Just who do you think you're talking to?
I think the idea of leaving Appalachia and going somewhere else and questing there is exactly.
I mean, again, these are very horrible dialogue choices. You know why people liked New Vegas and its dialogues? And yes, obviously we're going to talk about New Vegas. Because the dialogues made sense. The dialogue options, like, look, none of these dialogue options are something I would say even remotely willingly. It's not even generalized. This is, if here's the middle lane where it's generalized and here is the extremes, this is in some form of an extreme. And Fallout New Vegas dialogues are praised so heavily because they allowed you to pick an option that actually you as a person would actually say. Because they didn't have this influence of, just of the person writing it. They were generalized. It was reasonable questions you would ask and, reasonable things that you would say. And that's it. But here, look at this. This is why no one likes dialogue in 76. Because it's this bad.
Exactly what we all wanted from 76 in the first place. I just think some added environments to explore. Like, there aren't even map markers to lead you to new areas. Like, there's not even that. So it's very strictly quest driven. I think if they could expand that a little bit more, you can get something really good here.
So he's saying essentially it's bad.
And get 76 to where it always needed to be. So that leaves us at the end of all of the major content drops. Of course, there are things like Nuclear Winter.
Why is the Deathclaw not doing anything, by the way?
Which they have now removed.
Why is the Deathclaw now doing anything? I don't know. That's just how the game works.
A lot from the game. But these were like the major content beats for the most part. And that leaves us with the future. 76 is going to be expanding its map, as I said earlier.
He's on the island, by the way. Yeah, this is not a place you want to be. You can do this, so you can cheese this one with a sniper, by the way, pretty easily. But yeah, no,
I'm
you're
curious
dead.
to see what it is like now with everything that they're aware of the game being considered as they develop this. And it's the first time ever the map will be expanding, so I think it could be
the
exciting.
Deathclaw just decided to not do
I'm
anything.
cautiously optimistic about that update, but here's where I would say you should lie with 76 moving forward if you're enjoying it. Right
You shouldn't be enjoying it, because that's a red flag.
now in the game's current state, and this can change, the game has never, as someone who's played the game since launch, okay, I've played every single major update, and outside of Wastelanders, this game has never over-delivered on my expectations. It always falls right beneath it, or it's just off in some area, and it's upsetting, because nobody more than me wants to cheer for this game. But if you...
Dude, it's true. I also want this to be a good game, but it's not. And I think, again, it's just getting worse over the years. Because Bethesda doesn't give a shit about this. The people who are playing this constantly are really dedicated. Like, they are not gonna give a shit about what Bethesda adds or doesn't add, because they have tasted the shit, and they have said exquisite. And they know they're probably eating shit, that's the best part. So, they're just gonna be milked for money, and that's essentially it.
Keep that in mind and treat it as such. You may enjoy it better than me. As someone who's gone through almost 6 years with this game and its ups and downs, it's a little tougher for me to come out the gate and be like, it's great, like some other YouTubers I'm sure will do, playing the game and being like, oh, it's fantastic now, actually, because they haven't been through all of those ups and downs. They just get to see the end result. So if I come across a little more negative about it, that's why. But Too Long Didn't Read. Is 76 worth the download?
No, absolutely not. Anyway, that was Mr. Matty Plays. Do not play 76. It's a disappointment. It's tragic. It's sad. This was Quizzer Sid saying, thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.